Hello, this is in-game epic. Today first we are going to, before learning how to actually sail, we are going to go over the positions on the ship. The first position that we'll be going over is the forecastle. This ships will usually have larger forecastles. This is where the foremast is, which is part of the three masts. The middle one, that's the main mast. The one that I already mentioned, that's the fore. And the last one is the mizzen mast. Unless you are on a very large ship, you will not have the mizzen mast. But for this ship that we're currently using, it has the mizzen mast. This is the bowsprit. Not all sails will, not all masts will have. I made a mistake, but not all bowsprits will have the sail, but this one does. We can also go over this, which is the gangway. There is the larboard and starboard gangway. Usually officers will ask you to get on the larboard gangway. Well, that's where I'm from the UK. And you would line up on the larboard gangway, or the starboard gangway, whatever your nation does. This is the quarterdeck. This area in general is the quarterdeck. You'll not really hear it referred to often, but it's still important to know. This is where the captain, either there will be a rudder, which will be over here, or a wheel. For this ship, which is the Unite, there is a wheel. Now we'll go over the three decks. The first one that we're currently on is the weather deck. The next one is the gun deck. If you're a sailor, you won't really be down there. And the final area is the orlop, which is dry. You aren't going to be in the orlop. Okay, now we'll go over the positions that are like, how do I say this? Not quite defined in like strict things like the rudder, that are just open up to good interpretation. Now this area is either called the aft or the stern. If I am you, I wouldn't really use the term aft, mostly because the aft also refers to some sails that we will talk about later in another tutorial. But you will hear officers use it. This is also another name for the mizzen, so that's a fun fact. The other area that we'll be discussing is the bow. The most important thing that you have to learn. This is the strongest part of a ship. You will have rams. You will be doing melee combat if you ram. And that's it for the generalized positions. Here's the quick thing I have to go over. This is starboard. Starboard is right from the perspective of the stern to the bow. This is larboard. Same thing, perspective of the stern to the bow. And that is it for basic positions of the ship, not the ones I just mentioned, the more advanced ones. Before we go over actually divine sailing, in this ship, which is probably, you're going to be using a ship like this, you're going to be using an alert, a bean, or a hoy for most of your open world experience, if not all, if you don't grind for like way too long. The first sail I'm going to go over is the spanker. Now if I struck it right now, we would go starboard. In real life, if I was actually right here right now, and I struck it, we would actually go starboard, because the pressure making it go through here would go here. But that's, we will mention pressure and more advanced things, well, tutorials. The next thing are the jibs. Think of these, now in real life, they would do nothing. These are just stay sails, they do nothing. But in game, they do turn you the opposite way of the spanker. And the final, not most important, but sail, that is going to regulate speed. This is your speed regulator right here, the top sail. You see the speed, the main's actually somewhat interesting. So this is trimmed. You're going at maximum speed right now. As you can see, we're going 7.8 or 7 knots. This is shivered. The interesting thing about shivered is that it's the same as struck. So if I strike the sail right now, there would be no change, because since it's shivered, it's like struck, because it's not catching any wind. The final thing is a backed. A backed is basically, see, it was 5.7 knots, now it's 5.2. This is because you're going aback, so it's going against the ship. Now we are going to mention the positions of the actual winds. So currently, we are in crosswind. This is the most ideal for the ship. It is currently starboard crosswinds. Wait, no, that's larboard. It's larboard crosswinds. It is currently larboard crosswind. So, it's either larboard or starboard crosswind. This is the most ideal area of sailing for a ship like this. The next thing that we will go into is training run or just run. Now this is going to be this is just in between, not really that influential, just gives you it's just better, I guess. Not better. For larger ships this is ideal because you're catching both these sails and also the stay sails. For this ship it's only 19 knots. It would be in like 20 knot winds, it'd be going like 8 knots. And then downwind. Downwind will only work for the top sail. So we're gonna go only like 4 knots. Well, not 4 knots. We're probably gonna go even less, especially since it's only 19 knots. So as you can see, we are not going that fast. Even when I trim this, we're only going like 4.3 knots. So this is downwind. Think of it like you're going down a hill. If you were using like an Ontario or any 2-masted ship like a Speedy, you would be going fast. Well, not fast because it's the jibs, stay sails, and the spankers. But you would not be going too slow either. And it's some interesting facts about going downwind. It's kind of different because, for example, if I struck the spanker right now, you'd think it turn us. You think it would turn us, right? It doesn't. Now the reason is because since the wind isn't going in any direction, see, it is slightly turning, but it's not as much as it would. The reason is because since we are in this weird position, in real life, you're currently jibing. You're not changing where you are, so we're going to jibe soon. Not yet, but soon. Once we get to like, we're gonna start jibing now. It's not gonna turn us in any direction. I'm not gonna actually show you because that'd be way too much effort. Now we're going to go to the final position where the wind may be, and that is downwind. Downwind, you get a backed for the main, so the main's useless, and basically it's the worst thing. It's shit. You're only gonna go like 2.3 knots. It is not good. Even the spanker will be backed. So that was like the only triangle sail that was actually moving. Besides, I was gonna say square sail. So for example, right now we are currently turning. Yeah, we're currently turning, as you can see. Now we are going to be abacked very soon. I'm just gonna strike the stay sail so that I can turn more easily. But once we are abacked, you will notice some differences compared to when it was downwind. So let me just show you. Once we are downwind, it will be obvious because we're gonna go so fucking slow. It's gonna be painful. It is going to be a pain in the ass. It is going to be just delusionally, just ridiculous. Now, I did put the spanker the wrong way. The reason for that was because it was that way and I fucked up, and I'm clearly dumb because I cannot tell the difference. So maybe I'm not the best person. I'm only a Marisase, a 3E class. But you know what? I still know how to sail. Now, once we are downwind, as you can see, we're only going like 2.1 knots. We're gonna go like 1. It's going very slow. I'm not going to go all the way downwind mostly because I'm just gonna start jibing and I won't be able to get in position. Downwind would be like south to west directly. But this is currently downwind. Next, I will be teaching you how to actually turn fast. Alright, now I'm going to explain how the ship turns. Now, I already mentioned this with the spanker, but the spanker will go in the opposite direction. Well, the jibs will go in the opposite direction for the spankers. So, if I struck the spanker right now, where would I go? I'll give you like 5 seconds to answer. If you said you would go starboard, you're right. In real life, of course, I already said this. If you thought it was larboard, you're technically right because in real life it would. But Windward, we can't have any fun, also known as realism. Now, if I strike the jibs, I will go in the opposite direction of the spanker. In real life, I already mentioned this before. It would not do that. So that's all I really need to say about turning in the ship. In my next tutorial, I will be talking about how to sail in, more complicated ships with 2 masts like Speedy's, Ontario's, and other ships. And I will be continuing on this tutorial series. So, goodbye.